I met my departed loved ones, a near-death testimony. Have you ever wondered, when facing death, if you could meet your departed loved ones? The story I'm about to share today may make you rethink life, death, and the connection between us and those who have passed. In this video, I will share my strange experience of a near-death encounter, where I met my loved ones who had already passed. And if you've ever wondered about life, death, and the afterlife, this story might change the way you see everything. My near-death experience is not something easy to share. It was a moment I will never forget. A moment where I had to face life and death. In an instant, I fell into a deep coma, where I completely lost consciousness. And when I woke up, not only did my body feel the pain or exhaustion, but my mind and heart also felt as though they had just gone through a long journey. What I want to share with you today is not a fictional story, nor something I imagined. It is a real experience I lived through. An experience that changed the way I perceive death, life, and the relationships I've had throughout my life. When I lost consciousness in the accident, everything around me became blurry, and I could no longer feel the passage of time. There were moments I felt as though I no longer existed, as if I had vanished into nothingness. But then, something strange happened. I don't know how much time passed, but suddenly I felt a very special sensation, a sense of peace, as if I had entered a different space. There, I wasn't alone. I saw a soft, dim light, and I felt the presence of someone. It wasn't like a dream, but like a tangible truth, a deep connection that I couldn't explain in words. Then I realized, I wasn't alone. I met my grandmother, who had passed away long ago. My grandmother, the person I loved the most in my life. She didn't say anything, just looked at me with a warm gaze. It was the same gaze I had seen millions of times, but this time, it carried a very different feeling. She was no longer in pain, no longer worried, no longer sad. Everything was just peace. In that moment, I understood that life and death are not an end. They are parts of a bigger journey that we cannot fully comprehend in our lifetime. Perhaps, this is what we are always searching for in life, absolute peace. And I felt it profoundly in that moment. The strange feeling of reuniting with a loved one. Every time I think about that moment, I can never forget the first feeling when I reunited with my grandmother. When I felt her presence, I didn't feel fear, didn't feel worry. Instead, I felt an indescribable peace, a sense that everything in this world was exactly where it should be. This was not a dream, but a very real, very clear feeling. I vividly remember her looking at me with a gentle smile, as if she wanted to tell me, "You don't need to worry anymore. Everything will be okay." Though she didn't speak, I understood. I understood that in this moment, I was meeting the one I loved the most. And that was something very special. Something that only those who have experienced it can truly understand. Memories of my grandmother flooded back to me like a wave. She was the one who raised me from childhood, taught me how to live, how to love, and how to face life. Those lessons have stayed with me throughout my life. And now, she was present in a moment when I thought I had lost everything. I realized that death is not the end but a transition. Perhaps, we cannot fully understand what happens when we face death. But in that moment, I knew that death is not a loss, but a release from pain, a release from the worries of this life. Perhaps death is a journey, a door we step through to reach another world, a place where there is no suffering, only peace. And I met my beloved grandmother there, in a space I cannot describe in words. After that experience, my perspective on life and death changed. Before, I always thought death was the end, the conclusion of everything. But after meeting my grandmother, I realized that death is just a part of the long journey of life. A journey that we cannot predict. But one thing is certain. What we leave behind will live on in the hearts of those who remain. The most important thing I learned from this experience is to appreciate the moments in life. I used to be so caught up in work, worries, and relationships, sometimes forgetting the simple yet immensely important things, love, care, and peaceful moments with family. Meeting my grandmother helped me realize that, in this life, we may lose many things. But if we live sincerely, if we live for the things that truly matter, then no matter where we go, no matter when we face death, we will still find peace. Death is not the end, but a part of the cycle. When we appreciate our loved ones, love ourselves, and live by our core values, we will never truly experience loss. Many people have shared with me that they, too, have had near-death experiences similar to mine. where they met their departed loved ones. This makes me wonder, could this be a psychological phenomenon? Or is there really a world where we can meet those who have passed? Some scientific studies suggest that when we are near death, our brains remain active and may create images, emotions, and sounds related to the people we love the most. Some studies even suggest that during these dangerous moments, the brain creates a psychological shield to help us face the fear of death. However, there are also opinions that these experiences are not merely products of the brain but may be connected to some spiritual world that we cannot see. I don't have a definitive answer to this, but personally, I believe that my experience was not just an illusion or a physiological reaction of the body. When I met my grandmother in that near-death moment, the feeling was not like a dream but a truth I couldn't deny. And it is a feeling that I think cannot be explained by science or psychology alone. Death and life may be things that science cannot fully explain, but we can still feel them. I am not the only one who has had these strange experiences. I have heard many stories from others. People who also faced death and met their deceased loved ones. A friend of mine, after a serious traffic accident, also told me that in that moment, he met his mother, who had passed away many years ago. His mother said something he would never forget: "You don't need to worry. You can still go on living. But remember, live for those who remain." Those words changed his life. He started living differently, living for his loved ones, living for the things that truly matter. Stories like these really make me reflect. Are our departed loved ones still watching over and protecting us from somewhere? Could death just be a door, a threshold that leads us to another world, where we can meet those we love? I can't answer that question for certain, but I believe these stories hold profound meaning. They remind us that, no matter how life passes, no matter when death comes, we always carry our loved ones in our hearts. So, what about you? Do you believe in these near-death experiences? Is death truly just an end? Or is there another world that we haven't fully understood? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Perhaps you've had your own strange experience, or you've heard a story from someone that made you reflect on life, death, and the relationships we hold dear. Please leave your thoughts below this video. Share your feelings about death and spiritual experiences if you believe in them. Or simply reflect on what we can really learn from those moments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and share it with those around you. Maybe this story will be a reminder for someone to look back at their life and appreciate what truly matters. Thank you for watching until the end. I'll see you in the next story.